One thing that has been consistent today is that 9 ball finds itself near that diamond again. Was that the story in the last match, Michael? I didn't watch it. I went for a little bit of a break.
Yeah, it was down there a lot, and indeed, an appropriate finish to the match. Jason Shaw with the 1-9 billiard into that corner.
Yeah, I think during the break, I think it needs looking at, to be honest. It's getting a little bit silly now. It's easily fixed, it's just the way the balls are set, and I'm sure the referees will know this, so during the interval they will fix this. They probably don't want to mess with it during the matches, that would be a bit unfair.
Yeah, one thing about referees in any cue sport is they always discuss everything. You always see them in little groups together talking about incidents that have happened during matches and little things that need to be looked at, so I've no doubt that'll go on before we return for the late session.
Yeah, and of course it might sound a little bit petty, but if you think about it, it just changed the dynamics a lot of a rack of pool, because if the 9 stays around the spot, albeit if it doesn't get kicked, so if it's around the spot, you usually have to play a pretty decent positional shot, and it can usually go wrong, and that's where you see the 9 balls missed. But if you look where the 9 ball is right now, anywhere on the left side of the table, you're never going to miss it. This needs to slow down, and it's not slowed down, so Kazakis is going to have a cheeky shot in the middle, but from that angle, that doesn't show a lot of the middle pocket at all. So he doesn't go in the top, he might end up ducking for cover.
Extension code.
Said it hasn't been a good day for these players so far, and I also said particularly so for David Alcaide, and that's because he had already lost to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz before his defeat to Jason Shaw. Kazakis hasn't won yet today either, but he's only had one match, beaten 5-0 by Alban Ocean.
Can't see David having a go at this. He's got such an obvious safety shot. The only thing that he will be thinking about is when he banks the 4 back up table, he's coming towards that 9 again. You can get the cue ball in behind the brown 7. I think he's left the pot here. I'm not saying this is an easy pot by any stretch, but whenever the 4 ball is there on a 9 ball pool table, you know you can cheat the pocket a bit. That is perfect to slide off that long rail, so you don't have to be as accurate as other shots, but it is full length and he's cueing off the rail, so it's not easy. And he's missed it. As you said, Michael, this is turning into a big old point, this one, isn't it? Because Kazakis is on 9 points. David is on 9 points. I presume that's correct, my sheet in front of me.
Yeah, absolutely spot on. Alcaide has played one more match, though, as we said. And you just look at their positions, that bubble zone, as we're calling it. And our calculations are 14 is going to be the minimum you'll need. Maybe 15 will be called for. So you look at someone in Alcaide's position. I mean, if he was to lose this, he'd have to win every remaining match to get to 15. They are just estimates at the moment. They fluctuated like the stock market throughout the first phase. Alex Kazakis, who's at the table, actually said on Monday, and I don't mean this to criticize him or mock him in any way, because nobody really knew what was going to happen. He actually said that 4 wins he thought would get you through the first phase. It's just not the way it developed.
I think all in all, this Predator Q's Premier League pool has been a success. I know the players backstage, they've all enjoyed it, and that is because the sheer amount of matches they get to play. Usually they can fly around the world and lose a match or two, and they're out of the event. This way, they've had plenty of chances, plenty of pool. You're not going to go away from this. Someone like Katche, who amazingly finished bottom of the league, well, he's not going to be anything but mad about his own game, the way he's played. He's had plenty of pool matches.
Yeah, the money's a step up from last year as well with the Championship League. It's $20,000 to the winner this time round, and just the first of many big first prizes on offer in Matchroom events this year. There'll be some much bigger ones coming up later on. Alex Kazakis then at the 6th attempt has won his first rack of the day. He leads David Alcaide 1-0. And let's hear from Alex Kazakis.
I totally love the new format, really. I think it's the best round-robin tournament I've ever played, because every win is important, because all the wins stay there till the end, till the final four. So every win, you have to, even if you have 10 matches, you have to even try more to win the 11th, the 12th match, the 15th match, or whatever. So I really like it. Every player has to try hard in every match.
Do you prefer playing against guys you know that are a better standard?
No, I prefer to play guys a lower standard. But you know, it is what it is. You have to win a tournament, you have to beat the guys with the biggest standards. So I'm still really feeling good than the last year about my game, about myself, and I think I improved a little bit, even more year after year. So yeah, if I win this event, it's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, wouldn't it be easy if you could always play players who were worse than you? Jake Asby with the questions there. He's a bit of an unpredictable player, isn't he, Carl? We saw him, obviously, win the World Masters. We've seen him go close to it in the past. He's done well enough to get into a couple of Mosconi Cup teams, but then not really performed when he's got there. So you never really know, in either direction, what sort of form you're going to get from him.
Yeah, and I think a few years ago, certainly when I was still on the circuit, there was a little bit of a theme with Kazakis where you always felt like if you could stay with him in the match and keep it tight, you were waiting for that miss to come, and that's kind of what his game used to be like. But then when he finally got over the line and won that World Pool Masters, that's obviously going to do a player's confidence the world of good.
Tells you something, doesn't it? We've gone to listen to that interview and come back, and Desislava Bojalova is still racking the balls up. And that just shows the amount of care that's been taken, which I think is necessary, really, after all the criticism there's been of the way they've been racked earlier. It'll be interesting to see this evening, after they've had time to discuss it and think about it, whether anything has been or can be done to change the situation. Kazakis 1-0 up.
Yeah, that was a lot better rack. The 9-ball didn't move as much, and the wing ball find its way into the pocket. That's the way it should be. Yeah, the thing is, people might be watching thinking, oh, just throw the balls up in the triangle and take the triangle off, a little bit like you do down the pub, but it's not really the case in 9-ball, because certain gaps, they cause different things to happen, and you know, they can be racked where the 9 flies straight in the pocket, and that's probably what the referee is most concerned about. They don't want that to happen.
I don't know if it's possible at all. I'm really just thinking out loud here, but maybe at some point somebody will invent something like they have in 10-pin bowling, where it's all automated. When the pins go down, there's a device that basically just sets them back up again. I don't know if that would be something that could in any way be possible in 9-ball, but if you could achieve that consistency and guarantee it, I'm sure it would be very welcome among the players.
Well, there is something that kind of exists like that, and it's in China. It's like a machine under the table, and it sort of collects all the balls, and then this machine comes up and puts them back down. But I don't think you can beat the good old rack with the referee. And of course, if you are an avid pool watcher, You've seen gadgets like the Magic Rack, but that becomes a little bit too predictable. We're not a million miles off with this. I think just the back two balls need a little look at during the break. But that was a good rack. Let's not get too giddy.
And we're seeing the consequences of it here. David Alcaide is on a really bad run in terms of racks. Obviously, he lost his first match in a hill-hill finish, and beaten 5-1 by Jason Shaw. He's 2-0 down here. Got to start turning the tide. Kazakis leads him 2-0.
That is lit with Mosconi Cup players.
Slightly different atmosphere. Alcaide thrived in that atmosphere at Alexandra Palace in December. Not so here. He's 2-0 down. And look at that 9-ball. Complete opposite to where it's been going throughout the day.
Yeah, actually got kicked, but you could see just by the actual split. So the referee's doing a fine job in this match. Yeah, he can get through to the potting angle. That tells us he can because he's just pointing his cue where he would like it. He'd actually like to be straight on the pink 4. That's unusual. They do say 9 balls a game of angles, but the problem with this now is, I'm not saying he's not going to achieve position here, but he's flirting with the green 6 and the 9. He's got to come through gaps and judge the pace as well. If he was straight, he could play some form of a stop shot and he would always be on the 5. So this could go wrong.
Extension code.
Not only has he got to find the correct line, he's got to pot the long 4, and pace is going to be key. Just got there. The 4 went in a little fat, so he'd have been a little bit scared, but he's done a fine job in the end.
Really needs a break and run here. Just needs to start making something happen. He's cut a frustrated figure all day so far.
This would be a timely break and run. Of course, this is a repeat of that classic World Pool Masters final where David Alcaide banked a full table length 9 at Hill to win the World Pool Masters.
On so many sports, there are matches that become so famous that every time the players or the teams involved ever meet after that, gets brought up again. And David Alcaide is off the mark here. He closes to 2-1 down. More in a moment. Break and run from Alex Kazakis in the second rack. David Alcaide replied in kind in the third. Kazakis now breaking a 2-1 in front. Heading down into that same region again. So Kazakis taking a very close look to see if there's room for him to slip that one past the 6. Position on the 2. Doesn't look to be greatly difficult. Looks very tight from there. He still can't make his mind up. Sure what he was attempting there. Was he maybe trying to play the billiard off the 8? Anyway, certainly all the indications are that there wasn't room to go direct. David Alcaide, 43 years of age now. You wouldn't think it to look at him, would you?
Code.
He could still be getting away with paying half fare on the bus. Kazakis, much younger, just turned 30 last summer. Number 12 in the new world ranking list. Nicely done. Unusual atmosphere out there now. Play has long since finished for this session over on the other table. And these players travel around to lots of multi-table events where there's lots of action going on all the time, lots of noise. And even when they play in single table format tournaments, there's usually a crowd there. So a rare experience of playing in almost total silence.
Foul shot. Ball in hand. Start the clock, please.
So the tactical exchange reaches a very definite conclusion. Alcaide given a simple start with ball in hand.
Yeah, them balls look in a very inviting position, don't they? It's just simply one of them finishes where just keep a nice tight cue ball and you'll be okay.
I was just wondering who would be the first to bring up the World Masters final between these two. It was you, Carl, just before the intermission there. But of course, they've had a more recent meeting in the first phase on Thursday, and Kazakis came through 5-4.
That was a nice shot. Used a load of right English to get the cue ball back up table.
No denying we're seeing a much better general standard now than we were earlier in the session, which suggests the racking has improved.
Same again, you can draw it back or you can use the left rail with loads of left English. That pulls it back down towards the 8. Yeah, and that's good enough.
So, got Kazakis into a bit of trouble, got ball in hand. And saw out the job from there. 2-0 down, David Alcaide was. It's now 2-all. Let's have a look then as we come towards the end of this session at the top end of the table. Remember, 10 players left. Top 6 tomorrow night after they've all played each other again in this second phase. We'll go through. And a real pile-up on 12, so it's looking more and more possible all the time that Rack's difference is going to be a very big factor. And Jason Shaw, of course, has a clear advantage over the other players on 12. That 5-1 win over David Alcaide will certainly have strengthened that further. And the racks won and racks lost there just underline how much pool they've all played since we started here on Monday. Those guys all very well placed at the moment. Be a surprise if any of them were to miss out on the next phase. Further down though, there's a real fight going on, and although it's early on in this second phase, we're only about a quarter of the way through. The match we're watching at the moment, we could end up looking back on and saying it was the most important of all. Both of these players on 9 wins. Alcaide has played 1 match more than Kazakis. He'll only have 6 more to go after this. The man he's facing will still have 7 to play. 2-all then.
That was a good break. Makes the 1 ball in the side, and also the pink 4 goes in the same pocket. Interesting situation. If the red 3, he's already had a look, David. If it doesn't go in the right centre pocket, he might have to play for the 3 in the same pocket as the one he's about to pot. Yeah, he's doing so. It's running up. Yeah, this looks nice. That's a good shot. That to travel that distance and stop there. He's played that well. You can actually see there, that was a prime example of what 9-ball is all about. He's got a tricky opening pot and positional shot. And if you get it right, it really sets the rack up for you. 1 good pot here, nudging to the 5. Yeah, and then you just feel like that's the rack done, don't you?
Well, some people look at 9-ball and say it looks easy at times. But the vast majority of racks, you have to play a very good shot to get into that position. It makes it easy for you.
Yeah, and there's nothing easy about playing 9-ball pool, travelling all over the world, and even trying to qualify to get in this event. Good luck with that one.
Well, the standard is just so exacting. The margin for error you have in any match is so small. Saw the match the other night where Alcaide didn't miss a ball for the whole match and still lost.
Stayed patient as David. He was 2-0 down. And he's just give his opponent something to think about.
Extension code.
Now he's got something to think about for a moment because he's taken his extension. Still be very surprising if anything went wrong from here.
Yeah, he must have just landed on that little awkward angle, because it looks like he can top this through off 2 rails, play for the 8 in the bottom right, which he has done. Yeah, that's fine.
Well, we said David Alcaide needed to make something happen. What's happened is he started to play very nicely. And having been 2-0 down, he's played 3 flawless racks. Alcaide now in front for the first time at 3-2. So much coming up this year. The Matchroom pool calendar busier than ever. Some new events appearing on the horizon. But this is one of those which has been around for a very long time, and it's great to see it going back to Gibraltar where it really belongs. In early May, the World Pool Masters, Alex Kazakis, who we're watching here, is going to be defending his title there, beat Shane Van Boning in the final of 2021. Tickets have gone on sale today. Buytickets.gi is where you can go. All the information is on matchroompool.com. And even if you don't live anywhere near Gibraltar, it's still a wonderful trip to make. Combine it with seeing some of the best players in the world. A wonderful setup over there.
Yeah, that event there is one of the most prestigious pool events on our calendar. It's one of the favourite tournaments of the year for the players. It's all played on a 1-table setup. Everyone has to go out there and play in front of the cameras. And the Cole brothers are back. They have been missed.
Yeah, and you talk about all the travelling around the world and all the tournaments these guys play in. Well, getting into something like the World Masters, that's the reward that it's all about.
Well, the one ball stopping there is going to be very useful. Wing ball straight in. Referee's done a wonderful job in this match, racking the balls.
Yeah, she's taken her time, and, you know, it would be very easy when we're a bit behind schedule to feel a bit awkward about doing that, but she knows it's the right thing to do. She has taken her time over racking the balls. And look at the quality of this match so far. Desislava Bozhalova should be very familiar to those of you who watch a lot of snooker. She's one of the most prominent referees in that game. In fact, she'll be refereeing at the European Masters here in Milton Keynes in the coming week.
Yeah, as a player, when you know the referee's racking them correctly and the wing ball's flying in, it means you can put full focus onto the cue ball. You're not just trying to hit them as hard as you can and make a random ball.
Yeah, cue sports getting so big in Eastern Europe these days. Desislava comes from Bulgaria.
Yeah, a few years ago we actually used to play a European tour over in Bulgaria.
Sorry for this, Carl. You can definitely say in this match, with the racking, it's been a case of Sofia so good. That's officially the worst of the week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely up there, Michael. I'm afraid to tell you. Obviously, both of these players are so finally tuned in with each other, both on 9 points, so we're not mistaken for thinking this may go hill-hill and add a final rack thriller for that precious point.
Very hard to say at the moment who's going to get it, because they're both in fine form here. Alcaide 3, Kazakis 3. The finish is next. final act then of a session
Break. 3 racks
of much variety, some great quality, more than a little drama, and even some controversy. We're through now all the way to the finish here. 3-3.
Is the 2-ball going to sneak in? It's not. It's going to be a dry break. And as we can all see, the yellow 1-ball is sitting lovely over the right centre pocket. Yeah, the referees have got a tough job when you're trying to rack these balls, because when a pool player comes up dry, you always kind of look at the referee in a little bit of disgust. Going to go around the angles with the cue ball. Just got to watch that left centre. Oh, he's going to go behind the 5-ball. What a mistake from Kazakis.
Yeah, and he spent a lot of time thinking about it. Well, this could be a huge moment, because given the quality of the play we've seen and the way they've both been performing, you would have thought, in all likelihood, Kazakis was going to run out from there. He's been so consistent. On every chance he's had, really, as has Alcaide. But now he's got himself in a world of trouble.
Yeah, it was a good hit. Oh, Davey's not going to be happy with this when he comes to
No.
the table.
Yeah, his best bet for getting out of that looked to be that he might be able to pot it. Play the kick shot on the 2. But you can't beat a bit of good fortune. Alcaide had quite a bit of it, actually, towards the end of his previous match, so can't have too many complaints now.
Yeah, and of course, they always talk about good fortune, but it's never good fortune until the rack's over. As you can see, it might well have been David's turn to leave Kazakis in a little bit of trouble. Even if you can see this, it's not easy, it's long. He's got to stop the cue ball there for the 3. Yeah, it was a nice pot, so he could see the potting angle. Now this is take 2.
Kazakis has had 3 breaking racks so far in this match, and he's run out from 2 of them. So if he can take this and find himself breaking on the hill, he'll be in a very encouraging situation indeed. Wow, and just as we were talking about how this match has been of such good quality, Kazakis has missed a sitter.
Yeah, the pressure's got to the current World Pool Masters champion there. He's not cued that one too good at all, has he? So can David really punish him? Yeah, that's okay. He can kill the cue ball there. What a mistake that might prove to be.
Well, in such a crucial match as well. I mean, you could look at it and say if he loses the match, he might be looking back on that shot. Well, he will be looking back on that shot, you would think. But given the situations of these two and how close they are to each other in the table, it's no exaggeration to say Kazakis, if he doesn't get through tomorrow night, could identify that as the defining moment of his home tournament.
Cue ball's a little close to the rail, but he's gone far enough up table, so he should be fine. Yeah, he's going to steal this rack right at the end. Kazakis, well, he's not going to be happy, but he's going to be breaking in the next rack, so there's a little bit of hope still. But what a shocking miss that was on the pink 4.
We were saying earlier how unpredictable he can be. He can look really good at times, and then other days you wonder where the real Alex Kazakis has gone. We were wondering it there, certainly on that 4. What a chance he's let slip away. David Alcaide has not let him off the hook at all, so Alcaide ends up being first to the hill at 4-3. Kazakis, though, as you say, Carl, does have the break to come. We were talking earlier about the World Masters and all the great events coming up in a really packed schedule. Let's have a look at that. 2 massive new events, the UK Open in May, the European Open in November. I'll tell you one event that I think is a fantastic asset for pool is the World Cup. It's going to be on there in June, as you see, Carl. And most major individual sports have a team event, but a lot of them don't really work because they don't hit on the right format, and perhaps even more significantly, not all the top players buy into it, and some of the strongest countries often go there only at half strength. But the World Cup has a great format, and all the top players really target it.
Yeah, there's big money at stake in the World Cup of Pool, and you know, that's just down to the sheer amount of countries that play 9-ball pool.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. I mean, you think of various team events that have been in snooker over the years. They've struggled a bit because there aren't that many countries capable of competing with the best. But look at the surprise results we saw in the World Cup last year. Most obviously Slovakia beating Austria in the first round. And that's the other thing. Not only is it a great event, it's a wonderful way of underlining just how broad the global spread of the game is. Alex Kazakis then. He'll surely be there playing for Greece. But in the present day, he's 4-3 down.
First glance, it's looking like it's going to be dry, and it is. David's going to have a chance here. I actually thought you was going to say with me and Darren getting to the final when you was going on about surprises.
I was only surprised you didn't win a call.
Yeah, the pink 4 is near the 9-ball, and that looks to be the only problem ball on the table. He's been round to see if it pots in the bottom left, and he's also had a nosy to see if he can combo the 9 in the corner. First 3 shots are really easy. It's just all about the pink 4 ball.
Well, that was certainly the defining ball in the last rack.
So I think where the cue ball's finished now, he's obviously going to be playing for this combination. Just going to roll the cue ball down and then play the 4 onto the 9, but it is very thin. It's not guaranteed is this. He wants the cue ball to stop, and that's okay. He may try and play a safe 4 ball in the same shot as well if that is on and a good cue ball, but this is for the match.
many combinations and billiards have we seen into that pocket in this session? It would be an appropriate way for it to finish. But not yet.
No, it wasn't easy, Michael. Whenever you're hitting it thin into the ball, it's always a very difficult shot.
I think we can have a look again at Kazakis on the 4. And we're going to see the attempted combination there. We may just have another look at Kazakis' missed 4 from the previous rack in a moment. Yeah, here it is. Oh, it looks even worse when you see it again.
Needs to play a good shot here. He might even attack this ball. Safety's very, very difficult. He's aiming low on the cue ball. Oh, he's had a go at the full table bank and he's made it. Great shot.
Shot like that has become known as an Alcaide because, of course, he did it to win that famous match against Kazakis. Wouldn't quite say it's revenge for that by any means, but maybe just a tiny bit. He's gone for the combination and narrowly avoids the scratch. So Alex Kazakis fights on. He's level with David Alcaide at 4-all. Also be a blank morning for him, although he would only have played 2 matches. He'll be back on the table actually in not much more than an hour from now to play Francisco Sanchez Ruiz and Omar Al Shaheen back to back. Here we go then, the deciding rack, the end of this session.
Well, the 9 has gone towards that corner, but there's going to be no combo. The 3 ball, I think it will go in the left centre. And if you have a look where the 2 balls finished, I think he can easily get on the 3. Let's have another look when this 6 ball ties up. Oh, it's tight. It is going to be tight. This is David having a look. I'm just wondering if the red 3 goes into this right-hand corner, the pocket near where the 9 ball is.
We might get a better idea of that from the overhead. What do you think?
I don't know. It's too tough to call, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to matter. This shot will tell a story. If he pulls it back.
Extension code.
But it does look tight, doesn't it? It's one of them situations where there's only one person who actually knows, and that's David Alcaide.
Oh, but you got to pot the 2 first.
Yeah, he's forgot to pot the 2. So he's now having a look.
Yeah.
So there's two people that know now.
And we always say it, whatever angle you look at it from, the main angle, overhead, if you're standing next to the table, there's still never a perspective on it quite like the one the player gets.
Yeah, he was scared of the middle pocket, but that is a bad miss from David. Such a reliable potter of the ball.
Well, whoever loses now is going to have an absolute shocker of a miss to look back on. It'll either be Kazakis with the 4 or Alcaide with that 2.
He seems quite happy with this. He's down pretty quick, so he seems to think this goes easy enough. He's going to draw off the edge of the 6 for the 5 in the bottom left. Ah, he's tricked us. He's played safe. That's fair enough. Now, good things can happen here for Alcaide. If he goes off one rail and hits that 3 ball full, sends it towards the 8, he can get lucky. This is a percentage shot. That's what he's thinking. Now he's hit it too full. You see how the 3 balls just come in parallel across the table? It can never go in any pocket or make things happen. So it was a bad kick shot in the end. This isn't easy though. He's got to put it into the corner. The cue ball's got a lot of space to travel. That makes the pot a little bit harder as well. It's got to go in clean. But this just feels like it's the match ball, doesn't it? Oh, this is a beautiful shot. This really is a beautiful shot.
Could not have asked for any better. And for me, Carl, this has been just about the best match of the whole tournament so far.
Yeah, you can just sense it. There's a different feeling about this group now, can't you? Now we've got rid of the bottom 6. It's all very tight up the top.
It's still early on, relatively speaking, in the second phase. But this has had all the feel of a match right at the end of a round-robin stage. It isn't. They've both still got a lot of action to come. But you do feel this could very well be one we're talking about tomorrow night.
Yeah, Kazakis just makes you feel on edge, though, when he plays pool and it's hill-hill. Doesn't come easy. He wears his heart on his sleeve, shows his emotion. He makes a lot of noises. Kind of dances around the table in a funny kind of manner. Any angle on the 8 after this shot and he should be good. Yeah, this is fine. I think he's done enough, you know. He can play this. As long as he takes the scratch out the equation, finds the correct angle, he's won the match. Has he come past the side? He has, so he's okay.
He'll be relieved to see that 9 disappear. A wonderful match then, and for the second time so far in this tournament, Alexander Kazakis has come through a hill-hill finish against David Alcaide. What a crucial win it is for him. What an extraordinarily eventful and varied 6 hours we've had. Joshua Filler, top of the table, 14 wins already. He's all but through to the final phase as it is. Then you see a big group forming on 12. Jason Shaw with the big advantage over the others, though, in terms of the racks difference. Francisco Sanchez Ruiz there. He's had a wonderful day so far. Played 4 matches and won them all. Skylar Woodward still in those 6 qualifying positions at the moment, but only just. Alex Kazakis now joins him on 10 wins. He's only a few behind on the rack's difference. David Alcaide has left himself with very little margin for error now after a morning which has seen him lose 3 times, and Mieszko